Because it's the theme song. So I've already tried to film this video once. I was trying to make something about how I could like tweak certain things with the show that we got and just make the show better. When I was editing it, I was like, this just isn't, just too much ranting. This just isn't that funny. And I was about to just like kind of just give up on the whole thing, to be honest. But then I thought, what if I just did like a speed review of every episode of the Book of Boba Fett and then just gave like a very brief things I liked, things I didn't like. And so now I'm going to try that. Buckle up, boys. Buckle up, boys. This is going to be
Panic. Alive.
I can't hear anything you're saying.
Oh, really? You just hear enthusiasm?
I just hear.
So we open on Boba Bath Time, and that transitions very nicely into this really weird vor-based wet dream that's not too dissimilar from that one episode of the Magic School Bus where they fly into Arnold's nose, and it ends the same way too, actually. Boba's finally able to break out of the Sarlacc. He's able to crawl out of the very coarse sand. And folks, it does get everywhere. We see Boba just laying there. He gets speed up by a bunch of Jawas. And in a way that was way more brutal than I would ever expect those little fuckers to be. And then the Tusken Raiders show up. They give him just a little bit of squirt of easy cheese to wake him up. The Tuskens pick him up. They tie him up to their banthas, like one of those field trips you used to do when you were a kid where you would have to hold on to the rope so that you didn't like run into traffic and then cause like a lawsuit or whatever. After a long time of watching Boba Fett just get dragged through the sand, we finally get to the camp, and then we finally get that first title card, and it just goes like bam, you know, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm watching the Book of Boba. This show's gonna be fucking great. So Boba wakes up in the camp, right? He's sitting there, he's thinking like, man, I gotta get the fuck out of here. He turns over to the guy next to him, he's just like, hey man, do you want me to help you get you out of here? You know, I can cut your bonds. And this guy just absolutely fucking narcs on him, like the worst I've ever seen. He had every opportunity to leave. So why would he just fucking be like, hey, this guy's getting out. This little guy, fucking loser, piece of shit, honestly deserves every ounce of sand that he has to ingest. Then after that, we get a really cool little scene where they have like a back and forth, they fight a little bit. Boba gets beat the shit out of again and then gets unconscious. And then we're into an episode of The Godfather. Big boss boy Boba is sitting on this little chair, right? He's getting all these gifts until this little fucker, this CP3, this fucking C3PO stand-in walks in, the absolute most obnoxious character in the show.
This area here is restricted. I was educated on Coruscant. Not that that makes me better in any way.
And he's basically just like, oh, I didn't bring any money for you, oh Sir Lord, oh Boba, but give me money, please. The mayor wants money, please. Right after that, we get two absolute fucking units walking in there, and Boba takes one look at those guys. He's like, I'll take them, because why wouldn't he? The Gamorreans are fucking sick. I sure hope they don't die. Right after that, they start walking around town, you know, they're introducing themselves like, hey, I'm the big man, I'm the new big man in campus, you know, I'm the new guy. We get some great interactions, you know, we get some great lines from Fennec, you know, like, yours looks shinier than mine. Right after that, they go outside and then they get absolutely blindsided by these fucking ninjas. And Boba does one of the boldest moves I've ever seen him do, which is point a rocket point blank at a shield in front of him and just fucking have at it. Like, what was his plan? What then follows is probably one of the lamest fight scenes in Star Wars in general. I mean, this is even worse than fucking Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader. Not the good one, the bad one. Just as lazily as the fight began, it ends with the remaining ninjas just deciding to run for some fucking reason. One of them, not so luckily, gets just point blank shot, only to proceed to look at Fennec and say, Fennec, alive. Fennec chases him on a rooftop for a bit, catches up to them, has a little bit of a fight. Then she just grabs a stick and the other guy's like, oh man, my friend, I can't do nothing. She kicks the one guy off the fucking thing and points it at him. Is like, no, I want you instead. Meanwhile, ding, 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 what's that? Oh, it's 4 o'clock. It's time for Boba Bath time again. What are we gonna get in this wet dream? Oh, it's more sand and melon digging. We get introduced to the biker gang when they're going to get the melons. You know, we see them just being just bad dudes, robbing this place and spray painting and stuff like that. After looking for these melons for a little bit, Boba finally fucking finds one because he just can't, for some reason, can't seem to find them. Then proceeds to start drinking out of it. The kid walks up, is just like, hey, don't fucking drink that. He stops the club and says,
I need some water.
Only to proceed to, 2 seconds later, when the kid sticks out his hand demandingly, hand over the fucking melon, and then the kid just pours pours it out in front of him. Like, what the fuck did you expect was going to happen, Boba? Use your fucking brain. Come on. Come on, Tamora. Come on, Mr. Morrison. Come on. Luckily, we finally get a fucking release of one of the more annoying characters in the show when the centaur dude jumps up and just fucking buries that little narc right in the fucking sand. That was a good moment. I don't care what anybody says. Then Boba obviously uses his chains. He saves the day, cuts off the guy's head. They take it back. The kid's like, hey, look what I got. Look what this guy got me. And then the dad's just like, here, kid. So that was episode 1. Overall review, things I liked. I liked the fight with the centaur, sort of. I liked the dragging Boba Fett through the sand for like 5 minutes. That was kind of fun. And then that's it. Things I didn't like. Most of it. Didn't like the guy that works for the mayor. Really don't like the fight with the ninjas. Overall, I give this episode a 5 out of 6 benthas.
Take rifle and stick.
So starting off episode 2, we get probably like one of the worst interrogation scenes I've ever seen in a show, where they're just like trying to be mean to this guy and they're like, oh, this guy's got a reputation, you know, they're not gonna crack under the pressure. And then Fennec just drops his ass into an empty Rancor pit, and then the guy's just like, the mayor sent me, oh my god, the mayor, please don't feed me to the Rancor. They were literally just about to cut his head off. Why is he scared now? Anyway, they tie him up, they take him to the mayor, they, you know, tie him up like you do with a kid who, when you're taking him on a field trip. They finally get to the mayor's office. We get a hilarious interaction between the guy who works behind the desk and then this C-3PO motherfucker before they just burst in and then see the mayor dude. Also, don't really see the slug guys too much. Kind of, you know what? Good points for putting the slug guy in there. Also, I hate how his mouth moves. Don't make his mouth move like that, though. Please don't do that. With the mayor's introduction, we probably get one of the more cold moments in the show. With a flick of his wrist, just gets that guy shot in the head. And then was like, this is a bad guy, you know, thank you for bringing him to me. And then Boba's like, but who the fuck? Why'd you fucking try to kill me? And then he's like, go talk to the lady you were talking to earlier. And then they go back to that cantina. She's being really nice or whatever. And then they're like, she's like, the twins are coming to town. And he's like, but the twins are in Nal Hutta. They're not supposed to be here. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Then we hear some boom, boom, boom. The twins turn up for the first of 2 times and are probably about as useful as every other minor antagonist in the show, i.e. they show up once, do one bad thing, and then they're either forgiven or just killed off. The Hutts show up and basically say like, hey, you're in our cousin's spot. This is family territory. And Boba's just like, I killed the family guy. And then they're like, oh, no, we'll get you, Boba. And then they walk away, and then that's it for that scene, I guess. And then you wouldn't believe it, guys. It's time for another Boba bath time. Boba's in the desert trying to get his like Taekwondo black belt by fighting off this dude, and all of a sudden this train shows up that just starts fucking shooting at them. I think honestly the Pike Syndicate is one of the strongest antagonists in the show as far as just being consistently pieces of shit, and that's a really good way to introduce them. But damn though, right? They weren't even trying to get on the train and they're just fucking. Anyway, Boba firsthand just gets to see like all these Tuskens die, and it like has a really big effect on him.
Stop the train. Take rifle and stick. Be back by morning.
He does that. He leaves. He goes. He takes a stick. He takes a gun. He goes to some bar he just finds. We see Boba going toward the bar, and then we get a look inside, and uh-oh, the biker gangs are being real rascals again. Oh man, they're getting into so much mischief and trouble. I sure hope Boba beats the shit out of these guys. And that's what he does. He turns up, beats the shit out of them, downs a fucking shot, and then just steals their cars. And it's probably one of the coolest things he does in the show, to be fair. He drives them back in the morning like he promised. He's back by morning with stick and gun, and he's brought the speeder bikes. And immediately they start just trying to rip the shit out of him, and Boba has to be like, no, hang on, I'm gonna fucking teach you how to ride this shit, okay? We get the scene that's been memed to fucking death where he just goes, you know what, I don't just...
Like a panther. Yes?
Yeah. Also, this shot makes me laugh every time I see it because he just looks so happy. Doing such a bang up job. We get some great moments of Tuskens just trying to learn how to drive these fucking speeder bikes. My favorite thing is Boba keeps having that one Tusken jump off of the other speeder bike onto the other one. This poor guy just keeps falling on his ass. At one point gets run over by another speeder bike. Anyway, they're all trained up. They're just kind of like, you know, chilling out, you know, doing a little bit more fighting. Boba's like getting better with the stick. All of a sudden the train shows up and they're like, oh shit, it's game time. There's not a lot that I hate about the train train scene. Okay, I'm just gonna say that and then just get it out of the way. It's very good. Man, you can really tell that sand is good at stopping the train. Gosh, it just looks so coarse and it's really getting everywhere. They finally get the train stopped. They finally get all the fish people huddled up together. You know, they knock off their like caps and steal all their water. They snort their drugs in front of them, and then they're like, hey, take a hike, Pike. Also, did you seriously think you could get through a major television show without having some sort of drug trip? I mean, come on. As he comes back, he has the stick. You know, they turn that into his, oh fuck, what's it called? They turn it into that. Gaffy stick, that's it. The episode ends with them doing the whole thing around the fire. Even the Chief's getting in on it. You know, everyone's just having a great time, and it ends. And that's it. That's the end of episode 2. Probably the best episode of the show, in my opinion, that is an actual Book of Boba Fett episode, but we'll get into that later. Things I liked about it were pretty much everything. I really didn't like the modern stuff for this episode, though. I thought that the interrogation scene with the assassin was really, really fucking lazy. Like, there's lazy and then there's lazy boy. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to give this one a good solid 5.5 out of 6 Yoda screams.
I want to learn to ride this one.
Episode 3 opens in probably one of the most telling ways in the show, where this dude just comes in and just boldly goes like, no one fucking likes you, dude. Everybody, dude, they've all been talking. Cynthia and Mark have been talking behind your back all the time, dude. They say you're so fucking lame. And also, Mark's dad said that he's not even afraid of you, dude. The guy literally says, I don't respect you. I don't fucking like you, to his face. So we find out the reason why the guy's upset is because he's being bamboozled. He's being swindled by a bunch of ruffians, but these aren't just normal ruffians. These guys have modified body parts. Anyway, they go down there at night and they pull up. These little delinquents are sitting around the fountain and they're drinking water in brown paper bags. Ooh. Is that even legal? Anyway, Boba comes up to them, tries to assert his dominance, and we get more great writing from the side characters where they're like, hey, you're lazy and stupid, and also the city's kind of gone to shit since you started here, and we don't have any jobs, so what the fuck else are we supposed to do? And Boba's like, well, why don't you come work for me? As if unemployment's just solved at that point. But anyway, because he was so nice to extend his hand and just offer a job to them, they're like, fuck it, sure. We will be literally indebted to you until we die. Ding, 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 ding. What's that? Oh, that's right. It's boba bath time, ladies and gentlemen. And what's on the bill for tonight? A really dry business deal and then family death. That's right. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with today. This entire interaction, as well as the fight in the bar scene, is literally why Boba Fett thinks that the biker gang killed his entire family. That's it.
You don't have to pay that speeder bike gang. We far outnumber them.
We also have to assume at this point that it's been 5 years since the last events, but anyway. Oh no, guys, what's this? Boba bath time's actually been interrupted this time by a giant hairy man. But don't worry, guys, even though this giant hairy man is impervious to a fuck ton of people trying to shoot him in the head, all they needed to do was just band together and stick him in a pit. Anyway, we find out the next morning that the twins are the ones that sent the Wookiee, but now they're here to be like, oh, our bad, homie. You can keep it because we don't want to deal with the Pike Syndicate. Come on, Mr. Fett, you know war's bad for business. We're not gonna get into this. We get this great shot of the Wookiee running away that makes me chuckle every time I see it, because that poor fucker. Why did they do why'd they have to do him like that? Look at that run. Man, he runs like my grandma. Oh, also another thing, the gift that he gets from the twins is literally a Rancor, driven by the only person Robert Rodriguez will ever cast in anything. There's this super genuine scene that's not awkward at all, with Machete going through and telling Boba Fett how Rancors are actually really peaceful creatures and they imprint on the first person they see, and Boba's like, I'm going to learn to ride him. And then Machete's like, okay, dude.
Like a panther.
Meanwhile, ding dong, it's time to go see the mayor because he's trying to kill us, I guess. When they get there, they have another hilarious interaction between him and the guy that works at the front counter before bursting in and realizing he's just not fucking there. They notice that the C-3PO motherfucker is driving away now, so they have to go catch them. All the mods get on their fucking Power Ranger scooters and drive at 2 miles an hour to go catch him. I'm not kidding when I say that watching this made me feel secondhand embarrassment. This was the moment in the show that I was like, Oh, they really didn't care, did they? Seriously, if my parents walked in on me watching this, they would think I was the biggest fucking nerd in the world. I'd probably switch this to illegal poker because I just can't explain this. Anyway, they finally make the guy crash into a bunch of oranges. He tries to turn over the car, it doesn't work, before Boba Fett literally just lands in front of them and was just like, hey, where's the fucking mayor? To which the guy replies, he's not here. He's talking to the Pike Syndicate. And then we're all supposed to be like, but I literally didn't even realize what the fuck. I hadn't made the mental connection that the Pike Syndicate was the same guys on the fucking train. So I just literally, this revelation was lost on me. Anyway, the third episode's over now. I didn't like anything about this episode, actually. I think this entire episode was a mess. No good sides. I really think they could have worked that fucking twins arc in a little bit better. I don't know. There's just, God. Overall, I give this episode 2 dead Tusken Raiders out of, what was that, like 30?
That's highly unlikely.
All right, episode 4 opens with probably one of the more important things as far as his character up until now, especially with Fennec. It opens with him finding her in the desert, dying, before he picks her up and takes her over to a mod shop to be worked on by, oh, hey, look. Hey, it's Thundercat. Hey, buddy. Anyway, he turns her into a cyborg to save her life, leaves the machinery completely open. Surprise, surprise, he knows who she is. He knows that she's an assassin, and he wants her to help him get his ship back.
Speed bikers defeated Tuskens? That's highly unlikely.
I want you to help me.
So they go over, pop up a little droid, and they're just like, hey, let's go check out this place, you know? The droid comes back, shows that they got a fuck ton of people to deal with, so they're like, we're gonna go in quiet. We get a semi-threatening droid interaction in this scene with the guy, with the chef with all the fucking arms, before Fennec just fucking slits his throat, but in a weird robot way that I was not expecting, but I like that he fell into the salad. That was a good touch. Anyway, they think they're clear, but the little rat robot starts showing up, and he's gonna get them rats. Also, I know this is Star Wars, but that net's really fucking small, right? Like, what? I'd figured their rats were way bigger than that. This is Tatooine. Anyway, they run around, hijinks ensue where they have to catch the fucking robot. Boba Fett picks him up, scares him so much that he literally, in a weird robotic way, kills himself.
You know who I am? I am Boba Fett.
He can't turn himself back on. That's kind of fucked up. Boba drops him in the fucking barrel, and then they go and they get the ship. We get some great dialogue in here where both of them say, let's go, right before running off camera. Very complex dialogue we got here, John. More hijinks ensue when they're trying to get onto the ship. Everybody out there is trying to shoot him. Fennec shooting him. Boba can't seem to get the ship around, but just barely manages to get it through, and she jumps in and they fly off together, you know. As like almost cool but very lackluster as that scene was, it really just kind of pales in comparison to this next scene where Boba Fett literally just fucking cold blood guns down all of these bikers just with his ship. Completely unfair. What happened to the warrior way, Boba? That's not chivalrous. That's not fighting with honor. Then in probably one of the most big brain moments that we see in the show from Boba, he goes back to the Sarlacc pit to look for his fucking armor. Basically just face shoves his entire ship into the Sarlacc pit. I know he thinks it's dead, but like, why does he think it's in there? He crawled out of the Sarlacc pit with his armor on. He was conscious when the Jawas took his clothes, right? They knocked him out. Maybe he forgot. Anyway, surprise, surprise, the fucking Sarlacc's still alive and he's trying to suck them down in. Fennec, in yet another moment of bravery, unbuckles herself, presses the button to launch one of those sonic bombs that he uses. We all love the bomb, okay? We love the bomb. And it slips on down, he eats it.
Fire in the hole!
And then blows up. Man, the way the sand just compresses that explosion, just really, it's just so coarse, you know? It really does get everywhere. A couple seconds later, they're just down digging in the Sarlacc pit anyway, covered in acid. You know, I think he likes it in there. I think he wants to go back. And he's still wearing his robes? Like, that's fucking disgusting, dude. Anyway, surprise, surprise, it's not in the pit. So, good luck figuring out how they find it from there. And then we're back to modern times. Hey, he's all healed. No more boba bath time. As bad as this episode has been, believe me, it gets worse. We have a very overly done bit of character development for this Wookiee, where he is just beating the shit out of some dudes that are pissing him off. And this sexy lady comes over. She's just like, hey, you're a big champion, right? You're a big guy. You know what? Maybe if you don't rip off this poor fucker's arms, we'll let you walk out of here without having to pay your debt, okay? And then, of course, the motherfucker rips his arms off anyway. He pissed off a Wookiee. They will rip off someone's arms if they lose chess. Anyway, Boba follows him outside and he's just like, hey, you look like you could use a job because now you're just being lazy since the twins left you. Yeah, now you've been homeless and jobless since then. So why don't you come work for me? You can only have 3 more.
Wait, more you want?
There's a really lazily done dinner negotiation scene in this where Boba's like, I need you guys to unite against the Pike Syndicate because they are bad dudes who have attitude. They're just like, why the fuck would we do that? They make us a lot of money. And he's like, oh, well, I don't know why that would be. I just, I thought that maybe I could convince you. And then the Rancor like pushes the table up and everyone's like, oh shit, what the fuck? And he's like, okay, all I'm asking is that you guys just don't fucking interfere. You guys just don't try and stop me from stopping these crime lords. They're like, you know what? You know what? Okay. We'll definitely do that. All right, and then the episode ends with Boba Fett and Fennec just talking, and Boba Fett being like, oh, I need some muscle for this war, and Fennec's like, you can get muscle if you know where to look. And we're supposed to be like, oh, they're gonna get Mando. Oh, sick. We're gonna see Mando in this show. We have no idea how much Mando we're about to see. So episode 4 is over now. What did I think of it? It kind of fucking sucked, honestly. Not a lot of this that I like too much. I mean, I like that it rounded out the story overall. Just so much pointless shit. I probably give it 1 yippee out of 20 because fuck that. This episode sucked.
Wizard.
Episode 5. See, I love this episode, but episode 5 has a pretty cold open. Get it? Because it's in a fucking freezer. Got it. We see a guy coming through the freezer door in a mask and we're just like, oh, it's probably not Boba Fett. It's got to be Mando. And oh, surprise, it is Mando. He shows up, you know, it's been like, I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold. And the guy's like, it's already cold in here. So either way, I am going to be brought in alive. Just kidding. And then Mando cuts his head off. During this crazy little fight scene, Mando decides to go a little bit crazy with the Darksaber and just fucking gets his own leg. There's a nice cool moment where he's like, there's a bunch of money in there that I don't want. If you guys want it, go fucking take it. And then they run in there and just fucking take all the money. I liked that. That was a good touch. This episode is good. I'm just upset that it's here. Anyway, he leaves the freezer with the dude's head in a bag. We get this amazing one-shot scene of him going up an elevator, you know, having an interaction with some guy where he's like, oh my god, that's a head in a bag, and him just being like, what? He continues with the shot where he goes upstairs to turn in the head. Nice little round the table sort of thing. And then he says, no, I'm not gonna eat dinner with you fucks, just tell me where I need to go. And then he leaves, goes back in the elevator, you know, starts going down. But we get a little shot of him being like, oh god, oh, I cut my leg, oh man. And then the shot ends when he leaves the elevator. After he leaves the elevator, he goes down and we finally get to see him just wandering around in the space station. And then he shows up and we see, oh shit, it's the Forger lady. I know her, she's from the show. He collapses over there and she's like, healed him. And then the other big guy who was there to rescue him when the First Order came over starts healing his leg and whatnot. He heals his leg and they're just like, what could have caused such a wound? And he's like, this. Not even considering how important the Darksaber is to anybody. This guy looks like he's about to shit his pants when he sees that. His daddy made that sword. His daddy helped make that sword, Mando. You're just gonna be like, oh, this hurt me. Like that's, after he gets his leg all healed up, he presents the Beskar spear. And he's like, hey, can you melt this sick fucking weapon down and make a tiny little bit of chainmail? And he's like, do you have a really unhealthy obsession with this little Jedi dude? I'm sorry, but he just cannot care about you. That's like how it works. And Mando's like, I don't care, make the fucking armor. Anyway, the lady's trying to teach him how to use it because apparently with the dark sword, you have to fight your enemy, not fight the sword. Whatever the fuck that means. We get this nice little shot of Mando just casually falling off the edge of the catwalk. And then this guy, this absolute fucking Chad walks over and is like, maybe you shouldn't have the Darksaber, Din Djarin. And then they have a fight about it. Big guy looks like he's about to win and then he just can't lift up the fucking sword either. And then Mando has him by the neck with his vibro knife. And then the lady's like, hold, boys. Which one of you showed someone your penis? And Mando's like, of course I have. I had to save a child. You don't understand. And the lady's like, well, you are no longer Mandalorian then, son. And Mando's like, no, please, no. Is there anything I can do? I'll do anything. I'll go to the mines. I will like sleep in the water. Please just let me be a Mandalorian again, please. And the lady gives probably the most obvious foreshadowing I've ever seen, where it's like, you can only do it if you sleep in the waters in this place. And he's like, but that place has been abandoned for years. years. Man, I wonder what's gonna happen in the 3rd season. Anyway, Din Djarin walks out. He gets on a bus, which is kind of a fun scene of him just putting all this shit in a bucket. He gets a great little interaction with this kid where the kid's just like staring at him, you know, like those kids do. It's kind of nice to see that in reverse though. Usually, like, you assume kids think that they're looking at aliens when they see that, but this kid is actually an alien. Anyway, he gets off the bus. He gets to meet No Eyebrows over here in a scene that's introduced in a way that made me literally shit my pants. That's a BD1 droid. Now hear me out, right? Is Cal Kestis going to be in the Obi-Wan show? If Cal Kestis isn't in the Obi-Wan series and they just put the BD-1 droid in there because they thought it looked cool from the game, fuck you, John. Genuinely fuck yourself. That is so mean. Anyway, No Eyebrows is looking up. That's so mean. Anyway, I'm very sorry. She's a great actress. Anyway, this lady's here. She's like, hey, Mando, I got another ship for you. Razor Crest? More like, have you seen the first Star Wars movie? Ba-bam! And it's like just a piece of shit. They have a great moment where they build it together, yada, yada, yada. It's a lot of really great dialogue. I'm just upset that it's in the show. I'm skipping it. Finally get a chance to fire it up. They drive it. Mando flies it really fucking fast. Then he takes it up into the atmosphere node just to test out the speed, and he gets pulled over by the fun police. Boop, boop. Sorry, looks like you're having too much fun up here in space, dude. Do you know the speed limit? Dude, it's 40 up here, man. This is like school zone. Anyway, they have a great little interaction where this guy gets to make another cameo, and then Mando just speeds off. Anyway, they're just like, do you want to do paperwork? No, thank you. Mando flies the ship back down. She looks at him and is like, how was it? Wizard. Followed by her making a joke about asshole clenching. Right before she says, hey, Mando, your friend showed up. I told him that you weren't here. And he's like, who's my fucking friend? And she's like, I don't know, didn't get her name, just locked her out. And then the lady's like, hey, it's me, Fennec Shen. You remember me from the show? I was there to help save the day. He's like, I do remember you. I also remember Boba Fett. I'm gonna work for him for free. That's the end of episode 5. I liked this episode quite a bit actually, but I'm giving it a 0 because it shouldn't have been in the show. I give the show 0 wizards out of 12.
Have you heard anyone talk like that back home?
All right, episode 6. God, this episode has probably the best fucking opening. I love Cobb Vanth. The Pike Syndicate's doing their little like drug trade or whatever. He pulls up, is like, hey, you know, everything from here to over here is my territory. So if you want to do this here, what I gotta do is take you in. But what I can do is I could just forget all this happened, chalk it up to you guys not reading the map right or whatever. And then obviously they don't do that, so he goes, and then he goes, think it through. And then the guy does think it through, puts the money back in there, and then drives away. Cobb Vanth opens up the fucking drugs and spills them onto the ground like the fucking badass he is. Love the I love him. Then we get the opening card, Boba Fett, followed by a shot of Mando. Boba who? Boba what? I'm sorry. Did you say Din Djarin? So Mando's flying over to see Baby Yoda. Flies down, lands in this very beautiful place. You know, he meets R2 for the first time. This guy is a bucket of laughs. Beep boo, man, classic. Anyway, R2 makes him walk through the fucking jungle for a bit and then just shuts off. Then these ant things build a little chair for Mando to sit on so that he could just wait for fucking Baby Yoda. Meanwhile, Baby Yoda's up there training with Luke. They're doing this like meditation stuff. Baby Yoda in full ADD mode just sees a frog and is like, I need to eat that. And then Luke looks at him and goes, Grogu, causing the baby to lose his concentration and the frog to jump into the water. What the fuck was that, Luke? The kid was hungry. He can't focus because he's hungry. Let him eat the fucking frog. Anyway, in a show of fucking pure Chaddism, Luke lifts his hand up and just raises every fucking frog out of the water. You know, Luke had his moment with Yoda where Yoda picks up his TIE fighter out of the water after he just can't do it right. This is Baby Yoda's moment for that. This is the moment where Baby Yoda realizes the Force is actually pretty fucking cool and I should pay attention. Then they decide to take a walk, and probably one of the cutest walking scenes I've ever seen, where Luke just keeps picking him up and moving him forward. Talks about how Yoda before him, who looked a lot like him, was super wise and cool or whatever.
He once said to me, size matters not. He would speak in riddles. Have you heard anyone talk like that back home? Do you remember back home? Would you like to remember? Let me help you remember.
Baby Yoda has a Force memory where he remembers literally Order 66. That was kind of jarring. Holy shit. And then he wakes up and he's just by a pond and Luke is looking at him like, do you have a good dream? And he's like, no, Luke, I didn't. I had a memory of when I nearly died at the hands of your dad. He killed all the other dudes that I was friends with as a youngling, you know? Your dad did that actually. You go back to Mando and he does the classic gunslinger like, oh, I'm awake. And it's Ahsoka. Ahsoka's like, hey buddy, you remember me? Yeah, you can't see your son. Sorry. Mando's like, well, why can't I see see him though. I just want to give him this little gift. And she's just like, what if I give the gift to him? Also, there he is right there. And then he looks up and he sees Baby Yoda sitting on the hill. And he's just like, oh, damn. Wow, that's my son. And probably one of the most important character moments for him, he goes, just take it to him. You know, I don't want to ruin his Jedi training or nothing. I don't want to ruin his focus. This is great character development for Mando. Why is it in the Book of Boba Fett? Anyway, Mando leaves. We get a nice little reference where Luke picks up Baby Yoda this time to hold on his back. He does the front flip. He runs on a fucking rhino, you know, all the 9 yards. Every single one of the 9 yards, and maybe even the 10th one. Baby Yoda starts doing some more training where Luke just makes the little orb thing start shooting at him. He's basically just saying like, hey, do a flip, fucker. Baby Yoda learns how to dodge the thing. He's jumping over rocks, you know, he's having a good time. Anyway, he learns that he can dodge on the rocks pretty good, and then he sits on the rock looking at the water. Ahsoka and Luke have a conversation about whether or not his heart's really in it. You know, does he really want to be a Jedi? Luke, you literally did the same thing in episode 5. Okay, cut the kid some slack. He's got friends. Mando flies back to Jabba's palace. He shows up. It's like, hey, Fennec told me to be here, Gormorian guards, and they're just like, squeak squeak. Boba gives them the lowdown like, hey, the Pike Syndicate's the bad guys, we gotta fucking kill them or whatever. I don't know, I was losing my I already was just so pissed off. The one thing I did catch though was that Boba was just like, we need more muscle. Mando, do you know anybody? Mando's like, I think I know some people. And then he flies off, right? He shows up at what is now known as Freetown, which is fucking sick, dude. He's gonna get Cobb Vanth in there. We saw him at the beginning. I almost forgot at this point because we saw so much Baby Yoda. I almost forgot he was in the show. He comes up, is like, hey, can you help us out? And he's like, no. He's like, hey, come on, can you help us? He says, no. And then he says, hey, come on, can you please help us out? He's like, okay, maybe. And the man was like, that's good enough for me. And then he flies off, right? Second he flies off. Who the fuck is that? Who the fuck is... Who the fuck is that? I think everybody collectively knew immediately who the fuck that was, and everybody immediately came their pants when they saw that. The amount of shit and piss in my pants when I saw Cad Bane walk up, holy fuck, dude. This led to probably one of the most stressful standoff scenes in any Western I've ever seen. I did not want either of them to die, because I fucking love Cobb Vanth, and I fucking love Cad Bane. He just showed up. Clearly he's gonna win, right? Obviously, they have a great fucking back and forth. Cad Bane drops some serious bars on fucking Boba Fett, how he used to work for the Empire, you know, all that other shit. And then Cad just fucking shoots him, and then just absolutely fucking obliterates the deputy. Holy shit. And he just like, you know, flips closed, walks off. This is the best scene in the show, period. So fucking good. This is followed by another really interesting scene where the Pike Syndicate goes to the little diner place, and then they drop off like packages, and then the robot's like, oh, you forgot your lunchbox, and then it fucking blows up and kills literally everybody. That's sick. That's a fucking cool scene. That makes me fucking hate the Pikes. Then there's a very baited scene where Luke is like, hey, you can either have Yoda's lightsaber, or also, how did he get that? You can either have my old master's lightsaber that's perfect size for your tiny little mitts, or you can have this armor that Mando gave you and return to your old life, stuff like that. And it's a cliffhanger. It was like, oh god, is he gonna go back to him? And then the episode ends. Overall, I obviously like it more than the 5th episode just because it actually has more Boba Fett content in it. This episode was so fucking hype for me. Just the fact that Cad Bane was even in it just made me so happy. I'm gonna give this one 1 million out of 1,000,001 sand particles, because look at them. They're coarse and getting everywhere.
I'm still faster than you.
7th episode opens with them in the diner. They go in there to see all the wreckage and stuff like that, because obviously it just fucking blew up. Boba Fett's like, oh damn, this is bad news, guys. This is bad news bears. We're gonna have to deal with this like head on now. They're like, well, once the guys on Freetown come in, it'll be okay. We cut to a meeting between Cad Bane and the mayor and the Pike Syndicate leader, dude. They're all talking their big game and stuff like that. Cad Bane is absolutely fucking owning the entire scene. And then if you didn't think that John could just keep his fucking load for a little while longer, he absolutely just dumps that shit in the first 2 minutes where Baby Yoda just shows up. Wow, what a cliffhanger. Baby Yoda showing up in the first 5 fucking minutes of the last episode. But anyway, the lady takes after him, obviously, you know, picks him up. It's like, I'm gonna take you to Mando or whatever. We don't see Baby Yoda for a while. Back at the diner, they're going over their plan. They're showing that everybody's kind of just stationed around. The fucking mods are running around. They're showing that Gamorreans are over here, Wookiees are over here. They got eyes all over the city so they can see them coming from any angle. But anyway, who cares, because Cad Bane's back. Hey, we get a fucking amazing interaction between Boba Fett and Cad Bane. These two fucking hate each other, by the way. Holy shit. Also, Cad Bane drops this absolute fucking bar.
If that's not the quack to calling the stifling slimy.
I'm getting that tattooed on me. That is going on my tombstone. Then obviously Fennec starts getting nervous about the fact that Boba's getting really mad at the situation. So she starts walking over, and then Cad Bane's like, I got back shooters too. And then some guys jump out from the corners, whatever. Cad Bane drops the absolute fucking irrefutable fact that we already knew that the Pike Syndicate was responsible for killing his family, not the biker gang. This pisses off Boba Fett so much for some reason. Not that he shouldn't be pissed off that they killed him, but shouldn't he have known? Wasn't that obvious? Anyway, Boba is literally about to fucking shoot this man before Fennec has to be like, not yet, don't shoot this guy, bubba dubba. Okay. Cad Bane's like, you've got soft in your old age. And then he wanders off. After he leaves, we get radio calls from the other people. The mods are like, hey, something weird's going on here. All of a sudden the crowds are getting a little restless and stuff like that. They start grabbing guns out of shit and they just start shooting at them and they're like, oh fuck, wow. And then the Wookiee gets attacked too, and the Gamorreans both get attacked. Oh, by the way, did you like the Gamorreans as much as I did? Well, they're dead now. There they go. There they go. I was very upset when I saw that. I was like, no. They're alive? Are you kidding me? They're not dead. I could survive that fall. Boba tells Fennec like, hey, can you just go kill the leaders of these places like really quick? And she's like, yeah. So she hops on a speeder bike and just drives to Mos Eisley. Takes a little pit stop to fucking just absolutely show the mods who's boss. And then goes, manners. I like it. Anyway, after that, Boba is telling Mando like, we don't need you anymore. You can just go. You know, this is all fucked. We're just going to lose this anyway. And Mando's like, oh no, I'm going to stay here. And then Boba feeds him the best line in the show where he's like,
Sure you want to stay? This is the way.
Anyway, right before they go out, C-3PO finally does something fucking useful and is like, hey, by the way, I was educated on Coruscant and I know how to talk and grovel and get whatever you need in a situation to get out of it. And they're like, okay. Boba walks up and is like, hey, I'll sign this here and you take it on over to them. The guy's like, okay, I can do that. I can grovel. I can whimper. And he wanders out there. He's like, salutations. I am unarmed. He walks up. He says, I come bearing this, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing from my boss. He says, fuck you, basically.
The arid sands of Tatooine will once again flourish with flowered fields fertilized with the bodies of your dead.
And then they just jump out and they start attacking. They fight, they turn around, they're shooting people. They get a really awkward spin move out of Din Djarin. Also, they absolutely body the fuck out of this dude. They kill off all the guys. They're just being like, oh fuck, there's too many of them. What are we gonna do? And then surprise, surprise, here comes Freetown. They're like, oh, I know our boss died, but we're gonna be here to help you. Anyway, as the people of Freetown are fighting, the mods show up in the scooters. You know, one of the guys shoots a shot and then just absolutely falls on his fucking face. The mods finally get behind the barricade. They're there, and then they have this really awkward interaction where it's like, oh, city girls can't shoot and the country girls can shoot, and Boba's just like, can we please just fucking shoot these people right now, please? Yo, those guys are flying. That's fucking wild. What could it be doing that? Oh, it's the Wookiee. But he has a fucking great moment where he's just walking through this hail of bullets, just fucking being shot repeatedly. Boba says, man, cover me. He runs out there and Mando just runs over, just boo, 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 and they pull him in. Boba looks at the Wookiee. It's just like, I owe you a nice long soak in the back of the tank when this is all over. And the Wookiee goes, Arf. Now that all the family's here, they finally end up killing the last of the guys. And they're just like, oh yeah, they're retreating. That's fucking sick. And then Mando like turns on his helmet. It's just like, oh no, guys, we shouldn't celebrate too early. Here come the big guys. And then these fucking Scorpion techs show up. These guys are fucking cool, by the way. I like them. I want more of these things. Anyway, they turn on their shields, you know, they try and shoot him a bunch. Doesn't work. Surprise fucking surprise. It takes a really long, actually, they never figure it out. They get chased off by one. Boba and Mando are just kind of manhandling this one, trying to figure out how the fuck to get in there. Mando can't even break through with his fucking sword. He keeps trying. Eventually, Boba's just like, you know what? I have a fucking plan. Just keep this thing occupied. And Mando's like, what? And then Boba flies away. Mando has like his cool moment where he sits there and he just levels his gun and goes, pew, 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 pew. And then it turns around and he runs away. While he's running, there's a couple of other antics going on with the other people. At one point, the Wookiee's hiding behind something and then just pops out with his giant cannon 2 feet away from it to shoot it. Like, that's fucking going to do anything. Like, they haven't been shooting it for the past 20 minutes. Mando has a run-in with this lady and he's like, turn around. And she's like, what? He's like, turn around. And then the lady comes around and she screams, turn around, or whatever. And then the thing turns around and then Mando jumps on back. The lady flips open the little pouch and Grogu's there, and Din turns around, looks down and goes, what the fuck are you doing here? Anyway, he uses a little force jump to give him a hug. It's a great little moment. Should have been in another show, but whatever. Baby Yoda, in almost iconic fashion, tries to make the droid, I guess, go faster, but instead just fucking blows the droid's head up and causes the entire thing to flip over, having Mando have to grab him out of the air to stop him from dying, and then causing this lady to spit out her fucking tooth. Like, damn, Grogu, just give it 5 fucking minutes. Boba Fett's right fucking here with the Rancor. Oh yeah, by the way, he shows up to the Rancor. Also, what the fuck were these guys doing? Anyway, we see the fucking Rancor shows up. It's so cool. Boba Fett's riding on it. Honestly, probably one of the coolest things he does in the show. He gets going with the wrestling moves on it. He starts pushing it into the ground. You know, we see the shield weaken on the back. Boba Fett has to like retreat for a minute because the Rancor gets shot. Mando walks into it with the sword, cuts off one of its things. You know, it's a fucking sick moment. Shield's no longer working very well. And there's a moment where Mando's about to be fucking stepped on, and the Baby Yoda walks up, waddles up really slow, and then just fucking rips the thing's knees out. Like, imagine if that was a giant person. Imagine if he just fucking sucked the knees out. No more kneecaps for you. I am Grogu. Boba finally comes back, gets the Rancor to fucking grab him. You know, it's kind of a cool scene. And then the Rancor has it by the neck. You know, it's ready to just hold him, and he's sitting there waiting for permission. And then Boba just goes, do it. And then he fucking... Anyway, in the other town, they have this plan where they're gonna get up on the roof and shoot like the guys around them and then shoot the thing to distract them or whatever. I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter because halfway through it, Boba just breaks through a building and then slams it into another building. Also, he literally just said this.
These two will destroy the whole city.
Like 2 fucking minutes ago. They're gonna destroy the whole city. Oh my god. They've done no damage to the city. What you have actually done is broken many buildings in the process of trying to destroy these things. He goes fucking full wrestler mode again. The fucking Rancor stabbing the eye out with the thumb and then taking the own gun arm and stabbing it through the fucking center of the droid. Holy shit, that was awesome. This droid is really stuck in the ground there. You can tell that sand is really sticking there. It's so coarse. And it's just getting everywhere. Anyway, in true badass villain fashion, Cad Bane just kind of waddles up after that, completely undeterred by the giant Rancor in front of him, and just flamethrowers him until the Rancor gets scared and leaves, causing Boba Fett to fall all the way off. At least 2 stories. Then they have a great little stare down scene, you know, but Boba's just like, he's like, and you're an old man. And then Cad Bane's like, I'm still faster than you. And he says, I have armor. And then he says, well, see. And then Cad Bane is faster and shoots him right in the head. He says some more demeaning things to him about his character and about him as a person. He walks up, rips off his helmet, and just like, this is my final lesson to you. Only trust yourself. You don't need your friends or whatever. Blah, 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 blah. And then Boba does an absolute 180 move, pulling out the gaffy stick. Yeah, he levels him to the ground, and he's just like, oh, so something cool, right? And then in the moment that I was terrified was going to happen, that ended up happening, was Cad Bane tries to lift his arm up again. Boba knocks his arm out and then stabs him through the chest. Most unceremonious death for one of the coolest characters they could have brought back. I was fucking fuming. Anyway, after that fucking absolute destruction of good writing, they get into even more lazy writing where the Rancor is raging around now because obviously Boba Fett's been busy. Now he's climbing the building King Kong style. Mando flies up to try and tame him. Obviously he can't do that because he's not Boba Fett in this show. Luckily, that's one thing he can't fucking do. The Rancor drops him down, picks him up, tries to bite his head. They make jokes about it the whole fucking time. And then right before he's about to be eaten by the Rancor completely, who comes to the fucking rescue? Fucking Baby Yoda. Grogu walks up, puts his hand out, makes the fucker go to sleep, and then just waddles over, cuddles up with him. Complete with a fucking joke by this lady, by the way. She's just like, oh, I guess we're not having barbecue. I half expected a laugh track. I half expected the credits to play after that. What the fuck was that about? So I thought that was the end of the action, but then surprise, surprise, the fucking side plot that was started at the beginning that had no references to whatsoever. We see the area in Mos Eisley where the Pike Syndicate guy, all the leaders that were at the dinner were there, and the mayor, they're all sitting there just like, oh god, we're so scared, like what the fuck was going on, you know, we gotta get off world. They start getting picked off one by one. The mayor gets fucking hung by wire. Like, I know he's a slug guy, he's got a big neck, but damn, you had to fucking do that to him. Anyway, Fennec's a badass. We already forgot that she was in the show because they said, hey, go do this thing, and then we didn't see any progress from that arc for a while. So now we're getting into the wind down section of the show. Boba and Fennec are walking around town collecting gifts from everybody, you know, they get like little fruits and stuff like that. Boba makes a joke about why does it have to be the right arm? Why do I gotta bow at everybody? We've head up to see some more yucks and laughs from Baby Yoda and Din Djarin while they're about to go off on their other adventure in probably a far better show. And that was the finale. Apart from some cool action sequences, I just fucking, I can't deal with this episode, man. This was probably easily the most disappointing episode. And that's even multiplied by 1,000,000 when you find out that it was one of the most viewed finales of any TV show on Disney Plus. I have to give this one about a 1 out of 1,000,000 or so people that watched it. Anyway, that was the Book of Boba Fett. It's just, I'm fucking tired. Like I said, I tried to film this video once before. It just didn't seem like it was panning out. There weren't a lot of jokes in it either. Probably the funniest joke I made in that was this one right here. Yeah, you didn't think there'd be a fucking test, did you? What if you're a nerd, you should be able to answer this fucking Star Wars test, you idiot. You're just jealous because I'm a bigger fan than you are. I have the Chewbacca inbox set from 1935 where he's got the penis. I have that one. That's in my shelf. I'm not going to show you. That's about all I got out of it, to be honest. But I'm glad I got to redo it here. I hope you enjoyed it. Overall, if I had to rate the entire show, I would give it probably 5 out of 10. I don't know. I feel very passionate about this show because I got to watch it when it was coming out. I got to be involved in like the community while it was coming out, and I had so much to say about it. But I'm not a review channel. I'm just gonna leave that to those guys. I just wanna make dumb jokes in front of this little green screen here. That's all. Now I have to do the YouTuber outro. That's so awkward.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. And make sure you ring the bell icon. You go ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, and it'll ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling when I post the video. Thanks.
I don't know as far as content goes what I'm going to be doing in the future. This just seemed like a really fun idea. I have 2 other videos I'm going to be working on here soon, so keep an eye out for those. I'm going to try and upload more often, but don't expect consistency from me at this point. I work a full-time job. I'm in 2 bands. I'm fucking tired. Okay, I love you. Bye.